Hello YouTube, in my previous video I discussed why theurgy is not really necessary for studying Platonic stuff, Platonic ideology, and why you really don't need to necessarily conform to this neo-pagan stuff. You're going to be a Platonist, and my critique of some aspects of Iblankian uh, Platonism, which I really used to believe in, but now I don't, because I found it pointless. Anyway, today I will be focusing on epistemology, and to make it interesting, I'm looking at an ancient form of epistemology called Pythagorean sophistry, which is similar to relativism today, and relativism is really the postmodern model which post-structuralism comes from in, and a lot of people like it today, and in fact some people actually use it to justify emotional attacks and arbitrarily labeling people to condemn them. But anyway, what I'm going to be doing is talk about this Pythagorean sophistry and Socrates' view on epistemology and his refutation of Protagoras, which is still relevant towards refuting the relativist claims today. And pretty much the idea of Protagoras is that man is the measure of all things, and due to this, pretty much that every claim is equally true. But the thing is, not everything's a false dichotomy. That's pretty much the 100 points. And yet, if there is a false dichotomy, what happens? Well, Protagoras deals with it well. But if there's a dichotomy that's not false, what happens then? Well, there are these two opinions or ideas. One is true, one is false. But under the relativist standpoint, let's say the guy who thinks it's true also thinks the false opinion is true. That would not make sense because it's equal footing, and saying that a falsehood and a truth are both are true and they're both mutually contradictory. That's actually a thing that shows how this epistemology is self-contrary in nature, because you can't really have something being both true and false at the same time. And well, a lot of people who cling to this type of epistemology will say, well, in some ways it's true, some ways it's false, some ways it's... Well, if we're focused actually on the propositions, there is no such a thing as this, because either it's completely true or it's completely not if we're looking at one single proposition. Or if something's completely false anyway, or something completely true, like let's say I would claim that I'm alive versus me claiming I'm dead. Which one can that be mutually true or and false at the same time? I don't think so, because either I'm alive or I'm dead. And as we see, I'm actually alive. Unless you were to try to play a word game. What does it truly mean to be alive? And then what happens is that you get through all this poetic and allegorical analysis of what it means to be alive and dead in the abstract sense. And from that you get very interesting things, but at the same time, it doesn't really mean that you can be both dead and alive at the same time, because even if you were to look at it from a metaphorical standpoint, if I'm, if it means to be alive that I do things very well, in the sense that I'm living my life, I'm doing all sorts of things, I'm cultivating myself, then if I'm not doing those things, that means I'm dead, and I can't do both at the same time, because the nature of time is that You really can't do both. It's either one or the other. Now, again, I say false dichotomies are a different thing because you can't say that there are things that are mutually exclusive when they're not. And in saying this, things become very interesting. Now, if I were to say, for example, things were this way and that way and that way, well, if I'm talking about one particular aspect, this is irrelevant, or this is relevant. So, what happens? Well, then we get into a lot of incoherent stuff, and no one learns anything. In fact, it's just people commenting and saying that this is the case when, or that, and then that's the case there, but we're talking very focused on this one thing, so that doesn't make sense. Now, that's not really an argument that Socrates made in Theaetus, but another thing is that I'm going to go back to Theaetus. Socrates talked about potters, and the most interesting thing is that when you're looking at pottery, kind of like an idea that the firm, strong ideas versus firm, strong beliefs. The firm, strong idea would be an idea that's supported by facts. So let's say you make a pot or some type of cup that is completely and totally a half of a sphere. So it's kind of ball-like versus a cup that's very sturdy and it has like a little thing to put down on the table. Now, pour water into both cups. One cup will actually be more lasting than another when you pour it out. And this is not really, again, completely what Socrates was talking about word for word. In fact, I'm actually making this my own analogy. So, but he made a very similar analogy. So, what happens is that without this foundation, the sphere, half spherical cup, well, and again, this, if we're going to be overly analytical, it would depend on how much of a, how flat the bottom is, but from a standpoint that is completely half spherical, it will tip over and I will lose my water, more than likely. Now, one that has a little firm bottom, and the firm bottom I'm going to say is fact. The water is going to stay, and I can drink as much water as I want until it runs out because I am a smarter potter. And in the same way, their ideas, as I said, the facts supporting the cup being the opinions you get from these facts. Now, without the facts, without the pottery, without the facts, remove it, and it flips over, the cup might break, whatever. To say that this is actually the nature of your opinions. If they're strong, they are actually more likely very potent, just like strong ideas, but at the same time, they are useless because they are not supported, they're not grounded on reality, they're not grounded on experience, not grounded on philosophical thinking, not grounded on discourse and dialogue, so that they're challenged by others. Or in other words, the pottery is unfirm, it's going to break regardless. So, I mean, in this way, you get what's called justified true belief. Now, not everything can be true, not everything can be false, but at the same time, we get a pretty good idea if we look at the facts, what the facts say, and we look at reality, and even these different thought experiments, which Socrates would do. And what would happen is, we actually have a pretty good idea of what's true and what's false. Now, that is not to say that this epistemology is perfect, but that's pretty much what a lot of it's based off of. Now, when you look at Laches, that's another very interesting dialogue. It's about courage, but at the same time, you get the epistemology from it because Socrates talked about courage as knowing exactly what to do and based off the facts, being able to act in this way or that way. It's not holding your ground at a post or running away or running forward. And it's pretty much just knowing everything, having everything in your mind, and acting based off what you know. And the way this connects is that if you don't know anything, your cup breaks. But at the same time, say with Laches, put your cup on the ground, or not on the ground, but on your table, or in this case a desk, and the desk holds it because you know you have the facts, your cup's firm, it's well supported, and in that you have a pretty good idea. But that is not to say that it's the truth. You're open. So if someone finds a flaw, you will listen to this person and you will consider what they have to say, and if it's needed, you will fix this flaw in the cup and make it a better cup. And I can tie this into the theory of forms because the cupness of a cup, but that's putting too much more on the allegory than I need. That or the fact is that you have this very interesting thing, and if you know what your opinions are, you know what the ideas are. If these ideas are unfirm, just throw them away or reform them. There's nothing bad about that. But if someone tells you that something's true or false based off of some arbitrary means, there's a lot you have to question because their ideas might not be firm and your idea might not be firm. But at the same time, you have a very generally good idea of which one's better, which one's not. Now, there's a lot people can say about empirical data versus your reasons, or a priori, a posteriori, or any of the more modern epistemologies. But at the same time, we're talking about the ancient world, and in the ancient world, they didn't really have that as much. They had things similar to it, their considerations, but at the same time, it's not as big of a consideration if you're looking at reviving Platonism to the modern world. But at the same time, don't reject them. If they make sense, add them to your cup. Make your cup stronger, and in that, you'll have a better review, and you'll have more courage and confidence in being able to express your views to a skeptic. And at the same time, a good potter, by the way, is able to look at his cup and that he's making and tell these flaws and test out each flaw in the cup before he's able to present them to the buyer, so that the buyer doesn't have the cup tipped over or broken in any way, and a honest and virtuous and just selling is there. So thank you for watching this video. It's hot in here. I'm going to end this video. For my recommendations, I actually have 2 book recommendations. Complete Works of Philo. I mentioned Philo in the previous video, but I didn't recommend them because I wanted to recommend the book on Platonic theology and Xenophon's Conversations with Socrates. Now, if you're a fan of Platonism or Stoicism or any other epistemology, not epistemology but ancient thought, you're going to want to learn Socrates. And not everyone says you can trust Plato, but I think you can trust Plato, although that's irrelevant. The Conversations with Socrates shows Socrates from the view of a different student. The student who went to Sparta. The student who was a soldier, not an aristocrat. So you learn different things from Socrates, And some of them are similar to Plato, some of them are different, but at the same time, it makes a lot of sense because he was a soldier, so he had things that you would remember that were relevant to him, while Plato was an aristocrat, and he was interested in things that were relevant to his desire for truth, and so you get two different sides of Socrates, and it's very interesting to look at. Now, I'll see you in the next video.